John, here's another example of insulation. Remember we talked earlier about more insulation being better?
Yeah.
But actually it's not just about the amount of insulation, but how well it's installed. Insulation gets its insulation qualities by the air spaces within it. And if the insulation is crowded or packed into the wall cavity, it actually ruins the R value. So see little examples here where it's just kind of been spaced and shoved in. And the guy thought he was doing a good job packing that insulation in, but actually in that location, the performance of that insulation is pretty much gone. And the overall impact, we talk about insulation, the overall impact is reduction of about 15% of the performance. Similarly, little job around here, around the electrical outlet, all these little gaps and voids. This really needs to be cut rather than just jammed in. The contractor needs to take the time to actually cut that out. This is the kind of thing that in the Learning Center here that Lexar would share with their insulators and say, our quality assurance program says that you have to cut behind. Here's one a little less obvious on this picture. This you can see is the edge of a tub surround.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah. And so one, we want to insulate in behind it. And we'd kind of like there to be insulation all the way up.
Yeah.
So we don't want, and here's what's happened in this one. The insulation's actually fallen down in behind the tub. This isn't going to get insulated, at least we fear it's not going to get insulated. Boy, that would be a shame. But even in behind this tub, air and moisture. It's a hot, humid place, and moisture can get in behind. So what we really need in behind here is a material as a moisture seal and an air seal to make sure that there's no air or moisture behind this wall. So insulation takes about an extra hour a house. We call it grade 1. All of the insulation manufacturers have all decided on this grading of insulation, 1 being best, 4 being worst. And they all want and they will train to make sure contractors install the grade 1. Just not all builders choose to understand that and don't really enforce it on their sites. And it's really an extra hour or 2 a house to make sure it's done correctly. And you can imagine, the next time this is going to get fixed is?
When there's water damage and someone has to get in and repair the entire wall.
Exactly. And that could be years and years from now. And what a shame that is.
Right, and every single month when you write the check to the electric company or the heating company, you're wasting the money as it's going out of the wall.
Attaboy, I love that phrase, because the waste of money is really a pretty powerful one. Here's another interesting one. You know, look at this piece of wood. And this is called a header. The header is designed to carry the load from a roof so that it doesn't impact the windows. This header is actually a 6x8 piece of material, a 6x8 hunk of tree, right? Turns out it's not needed at all in this location. Why? Because structurally, this, and it wouldn't be immediately obvious to any homeowner, this is called a gable end. There is no structural load on this particular element. There might be a header needed in another wall, but this wall doesn't need this header at all. So we used a big chunk of wood that, frankly, we didn't need to use, and it ends up being not insulated. So this entire section of wall has no insulation in it. So we went from an R15 or R24 bat, whatever the builder's using, or R23, and now we get to a place that's not insulated at all. And we used a building material that was expensive, so it cost you more and did less for you. So this is just a little example of, at the Learning Center here, how Lexar is able to train their contractors and have them adhere to the best building science practices.